Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you. Thank you so much for tuning in live or watching us later on. We appreciate you joining us today. We are here to do our second episode of our Learning Accelerators. Our second episode. If you have not met us before, my name is Teresa Castro.
And I am Ricardo Recinos.
And we are both technology TOSAs from Hacienda La Puente Unified School District. And if you were with us last time, we were going over Learning Accelerators episode 1, which were the foundationals. And today we're going to be doing Future Ready. And I'm super excited because we've actually been
I'm not sure if you got cut off, Teresa, but yes, we've
I've
been
disappeared.
looking forward to talk about our future ready search coach and search progress, and also speaker coach and speaker progress for our students as we prepare them to get ready to go into the real world, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get going.
And before we start, as always, when it comes to anything that is Microsoft, we definitely have to thank Mike Thompson for all the support and all the help that he gives us and the guidance as we endeavor into some of these tools and trying to learn together. So, Mike, if you don't know him, he's amazing. He's everywhere. He's on TikTok, he's on Twitter, he's on YouTube, he's on Instagram, and he is on Pinterest. I was trying to say Pinterest last time, and I couldn't get it, Teresa.
You
And it
were.
is Pinterest with thousands and thousands of followers. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Mike. We owe a lot to you. All right, so here is Mr. Racines.
Here,
I'm not sure. Am I here with
think
you?
you are freezing. So our purpose for today, I'll try to help as much as I can. So it's going to explore again episode 2 of our learning accelerators, right? Which you can use right away with our students, and they provide amazing insight for us teachers. We did our foundational skills with reading progress and reading coach and reflect last time. Today we're going to our future ready ones, and we're going to be talking about speaker coach, speaker progress, search coach, and search progress. And our non-objectives, as usual, we don't expect you to become experts, right? And we don't expect you to throw everything that you've been doing, because you have been doing amazing things, as Teresa always says. I hope Teresa's still here with us. Teresa, are you there?
I'm still here. I'm trying to reconnect.
Okay. Yeah, you want to continue? You want me to continue?
Go ahead and continue while I set everything up again.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, learning accelerators are these tools that have been created by Microsoft for education to help our students by providing real-time coaching to help them catch up, keep up, and get ahead. Last time, as I mentioned, we focused on foundational skills before, and today we are going to be right here with future ready, search progress and coach, speaker progress and coach right here.
All right. I think I'm back, Mr. Racinos. I apologize.
Okay.
If you notice, my setting is different now. I'm in a new room.
Yeah.
All right. So
Welcome back.
thank you. As Mr. Racinos was saying, yeah, we've been learning about learning accelerators, and it really is. He showed you a little slide there ahead of time, but what really is, it's just more opportunities to learn, practice, and receive targeted coaching. And there's a little misspelling there, I think, and an inclusive environment to support ongoing improvement. So we always try to find ways to help our kids and differentiate for them. And this just really gives us a tool, the ability to do it just with these extra tools and not having extra people in the classroom, because we can't always have that, right?
Correct.
So let's continue. All right. So why do we care about this? We always see all these amazing tools and we're like, okay, which one is worth it? Because I don't have time to try every single one. But we've got a few reasons that you're going to want to try these out for sure for you and your kids. So we did review this last week, just a bit of a review, just in case you weren't with us. These learning accelerators, this is real-time coaching. They are really getting additional support and skills that they need right away. They don't have to wait for you to grade something. It happens right away. It's inclusive by design, so all students are participating at their own levels. It saves time for us educators. We don't have to take time to grade and send it back. It starts right away, and actionable insights. So you can also see your data. You can see the growth of your students. You can see where they're struggling, where you need to focus your instruction. Just great resources within these tools.
Which will be our episode 3 when it comes to learning accelerators. Everything about
Yes,
insights.
yes,
Shameless
absolutely.
plug there.
All right. So, those of you who have been familiar with learning accelerators, if you've used reading progress before, we know this has been around for a while, and especially our classrooms are already using a tool like that. So, you're familiar with the flow. So, the teacher usually creates the assignment, then the students complete it, the teachers review it, and then the teacher tracks progress in insights. But coach does something for us a little bit different. So, let's go ahead and move on. So, what coaching does is available to help the students if needed. So, after you assign the student, after the students complete their assignment, they can actually go ahead and practice already with the coach, even though you have not gotten a chance to check it yet. So, they're able to get their data back and also just practice right away without you having to do anything really. And there's some features that we showed last week or last time that you didn't even have to assign anything. The kids could go in there themselves and find what they wanted to read, what they wanted to do, and still get the coaching as well. So pretty cool. I'm going to read it. All right. So with this technology, it's like there are 20 extra teachers in one classroom. And I remember, especially in elementary, doing those one-on-one activities with the kids. And it just took so much time. And the rest of my class had to be doing, busy work, other things. And now it's not just one of me. This tool can actually assist my students, while I'm working with other students. So it does feel like more teachers are in the classroom helping you.
Mhm.
And so the first one we're going to do today really focuses on speaking. These are our foundational skills. So speaking is going to be the first one. And you might be wondering, why did we want to do this? And why do we feel like this is so important? It's because speaking is so important. Speaking to one another, but public speaking. We thought this was kind of funny. We've done training on this a long time, many times. And so why? We want to help students improve their speaking skills. We want to overcome barriers. It's engaging, meeting students where they are and tapping into their digital skills. And it's just fun. When the students, do this, they don't even feel like they're public speaking. They're just enjoying themselves and they're working on this amazing skill that's difficult for most people, us included, right, Ricardo?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
as I mentioned before, as a English language learner, right? Public speaking is something that I'm completely scared about, and I think about every student, but especially those English language students, right? They have to be put on the spot in front of the class to present something, and we always think about Jerry Seinfeld, right? And his little quote over here, right? Like, according to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. That is the number one fear, and the number two is actually dying. Can you imagine that? So dying is number two, right? It doesn't even make sense, right? That means that an average person would rather go to a funeral in the casket than be the one speaking in front of everybody else doing the eulogy, right? And that is so true to me. I'm always scared of speaking, and you know
And
this, Teresa.
you wouldn't be able to tell, Ricardo, but it's true. It's true. And it's funny because we've asked people this, even teachers were like, what is your biggest fear? They're like, oh, I hate speaking. And it's funny because we have to speak in front of kids every single day. And even though this quote is funny, it's just really eye-opening with, to how fearful people can be when it comes to public speaking. So that's why for me, these tools are so important. So let's continue. Go ahead, Ricardo. You do this one.
And yeah, and as we were preparing, right? We think about our students and we think about what our job really is, right? So as educators, our job is not to be the voice for those students who do not have a voice. Our job is to dismantle educational systems of oppression that so the students can have their own voice. And I think that is our goal always. This is what we strive for, giving students the opportunity to have their own voice and find their own voice.
And I think that's been such a shift in education because I remember when we used to say, one of my purposes is to be a voice, an advocate for the kids. But now it's really shifted to, my job really is to teach the kids to have their own voice. So that's an amazing shift that we've seen in time. And, hopefully more and more with these tools, we can hear our students' voices and not just us speaking for them.
Yep.
I love it. All right. So that brings us to the first thing we're going to be covering, which is Speaker Coach in PowerPoint and Teams. We've showed this several times in other shows, and we're just going to show you how this tool works, how the kids can actually just use it on their own and get feedback on their own. Yes.
A disclaimer, today's session has a lot of technology behind this.
It
So if
does.
this goes south, we're letting you know ahead of time because Teresa's trying to manage 3 cameras, 4 different mics, and so on and so on. So just so you
He
know.
always has to warn you because
So yes, speaker coach in
it's true.
PowerPoint and Teams.
Let's continue. And thank you for those who are joining. I see some people trickling in. Thank you. Welcome. All right. So, speaker progress in Teams. So, speaker progress is amazing. It's not here yet. I can't read that tiny print
It's going to
required.
be available in 2024. And as we think about analytics, that's what Speaker Coach is going to do. Speaking Progress is going to work together with Speaker Coach to allow teachers to clearly see data on students' public speaking performances. So right now, our students are able to see that data, right, when they finish. And so we're just going to demonstrate that. But now we're going to be able to track how presentation skills are improving at the individual, class, grade, and school levels when we talk about using this tool.
Yes. Let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So speaker progress and speaker coach develop confident presenters with tools. So what we're doing is we're really trying to develop the presentation skills of our students. And to be honest, I have used this before myself as well, especially when we have those big presentations, Ricardo, in front of hundreds of people. I get really nervous, and it really helps to rehearse with something that listens to you and also gives you data and feedback. So 96% of businesses identify communication skills as essential, but only 42% of workers are proficient in this skill. So many professions now that need this. So that's almost 100%. Communication skills are so important, but a lot of people are not equipped. And we want to make sure our kids are equipped when they go out there into the workforce.
Yeah, it just reminds me of this past, I think it was Monday, right? When we were in that 4th or 5th grade class, and the students were actually learning how to use PowerPoint and to create
Yes.
their missions, I guess, a presentation. But then we showed them
Mhm.
how to use Speaker Coach. And then the teacher said, what an amazing tool where we empower students to practice this without me intervening. So just pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Mm-hmm. So let's go through these. We'll go through these pretty quickly. So it's real-time coaching, and we'll demonstrate that in a moment where it actually listens to the students present and watches them as well. So it's real-time. It's inclusive because every student can do it. No matter what their levels are, whatever they're working on, they can all do it, right?
And not only that, but also teaches them what inclusiveness means. If they use the wrong word, I recommend, why don't you use this word instead to make sure that you are inclusive,
Right.
right?
And save educator time. Definitely. I used to practice with my students before and just listen to them one by one, maybe call them in during recess so that they have time for me to give them feedback. And even though it's very important to still give your students your own feedback, they can all practice simultaneously and you can go over their data together and really pull those kids who are struggling. So very time saver, very big.
And insights, right?
Yes, and insights, which will come later, but we will see it a little bit today. We'll see the insights that appear and what you can do about them. Okay.
Super excited about Search Coach, right? Empowering our
Yes.
students to think critically and search with confidence, right? As I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking my daughter is in 6th grade, and I'm like, when does she learn how to search the internet and how to find how to create effective queries or how to identify reliable resources, right? When does she do that? And we're gonna kind of touch on that today, right? We wanted to kind of introduce Search Coach with this quick video. We'll play a minute of it. We usually don't play videos, but we thought this was important, so let me go ahead and play it. And Teresa, let me know if the sound doesn't work, okay?
Sure.
You come in as a high school teacher thinking that, students have that ability to figure out if sources are credible, but in reality, even at the high school level, they'll pretty much just select what's at the top.
It's really hard to tell which thing is credible
Oops, sorry.
enough to put it in a school project because you have to go through so many websites to be able to find that specific website that has all the details and everything and is credible.
Does this pass the domain test? Does this pass this test? This, going through my list. We didn't have any tools for knowing besides the tips that I teach them.
And I think I'll stop it there as we're going to go actually in depth to search inside of Teams. So Search Coach in Teams, it is pretty amazing. This is the first time we're actually covering this, and hopefully we do a good job and we do it justice. And in addition to that, we also have Search Progress in Teams, which is not available yet. It's coming out in 2023, so it should be here soon. But Search Progress is going to help us understand online search tools are critical for students today. So Search Progress is going to help teachers track the development of information literacy skills by creating a window into students' search activity and behaviors while identifying ways to improve the quality of their search queries over time.
Wow,
So
that's
that
a
is
lot of words.
right. Trying to read that Search Progress and Teams, right? And as we think about this, right, and especially in the times that we live in right now, right? There's so much misinformation right there, right? How does it get spread, right? Especially when we think about artificial intelligence, right? And we think about what's out there and so many things going on, right? Talk about fake news, right? Or debunking fake news, or distinguish between factual and opinion statements, right? So how do we help our students learn how to search and how to determine what is actually a reliable source and what is not, right? So we're going to just share that there, right? I think this was mentioned in the video, fewer than 1 in 10 students in OECD. I did not know what OECD was, so I had to look it up. Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development Countries. We're able to distinguish between fact and opinion. So 1 out of 10 students was able to distinguish what is fact and what is opinion. So this is something that we definitely have to work on. In the US, only 14% of students could distinguish reliable between facts and opinions. So very, very important. Okay. You want to go ahead and read this one, Teresa?
Sure. You can't figure out if it's true or like good information or not. And I feel like it's really important to learn how to do that. You'll be using that skill for probably your entire life. That's from a student point of view.
From a student point of view.
That's
Exactly,
the truth.
right?
They're totally accurate.
Some other ones over here from a Stanford research. Research-based approaches to digital literacy instruction can move the needle and improve student digital skills, even after only a brief intervention. So just teaching our students how to do this is going to make a big difference. And in 2013, students remember a brief 2008 tutorial on using Google and cited as how they learned to search. As I was thinking, like where do our students learn how to search and understand how to do this? Like it's a great question to have and a great discussion to have. And finally, how do we determine and cross-check if something you read on the internet is true? So we'll talk about how students can do that today with Search Coach.
And it says right there, you should not be able to graduate without it. And I definitely, this is a skill. You should not be able to graduate without knowing how to search properly so that you're not misled and you don't mislead other people when you get out there into the workplace, right?
Correct. And as we think about it, right, and we think our students, this is something that is not just for those higher ed or high school kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can do it in primary school and early with early searches.
And they should.
About that, right? Basic digital safety has long been introduced in primary schools, but what about with social media and sources of misinformation? We're not seeing before as prevalent for those 13 and under, but now they are. Okay, so we can assume. Okay, so training is imperative, right, for our middle school students, right? Research has shown that even small interventions when students are embarking on active online exploration can have lasting effects, right, for our high school kids, right? Teacher reports that students who are assigned essays struggle to cite relevant work, and teachers are unable to understand the student's search process too, right? And higher ed too. Okay, so this is huge, as Teresa mentioned. Okay, and Search Coach was created with feedback from a lot of leading experts, librarians, and educators, such as some info right here on the research that was used to create Search Coach that we're going to see today. And here's just a quote. Teresa always reads them for us.
Search Coach really does surface the tools and the information that our students need to make well-educated decisions around the validity of the results that they're being presented with.
Yeah, and with that, I think we're going to go ahead and get started, right? And I know Teresa's going to start with our speaker coach first, right, Teresa?
Okay. So I'm going to just give me a moment because I only have one screen now, Mr. Racino.
Okay.
My other screen decided to not work right now. So just give me a moment. I'm going to share a screen. Please hold.
It's
there we go. You're going to see yourselves, everyone. You're really quick. Let me just get here, and then I'm going to get out into, there you go. All right. So can you see what I'm sharing now, Mr. Racinos?
Yes, we can.
All right. So here I am inside of a PowerPoint. I'm going to start with Presenter Coach inside of PowerPoint because we have it in PowerPoint and we also have it in Teams as well, your Teams meeting. So here we are inside a PowerPoint on Office 365. I simply go to Slideshow. And then from Slideshow, you see something called Rehearse with Coach. And if you've seen our past trainings, you've seen Presenter Coach. And now we call it Speaker Coach, and they're interchangeable at this point, to my knowledge. So if you find videos, they're the same thing. So I'm going to click on this little caret right here, and you can see we have some options. So this body language is checked off. I'm going to uncheck that for now, just so that I could show you a little demo without the camera on. And what body language is it actually records your body language, and it gives you input on how you should, hold yourself as body, don't cover your face, things like that. And we'll go into that in a little bit if my camera cooperates with us. I'm going to turn that off real quickly. And then here we are in coach settings. We're going to start with this one first. So just know sometimes when you go into here, you don't actually see the coach settings. So if you don't see it, don't worry. It will still work perfectly. Just don't even worry about it. But here we are. So these are the things that the coach is actually going to look for as I present this to you, or as our students would practice, right? They look for pace, which is how fast or slow. Filler words. I know I always say like, things like that. So it will listen for that. Pitch, how high or low your voice is. Your pronunciation, are you pronouncing it properly? Your content as well. And like what Ricardo mentioned earlier, so originality, which means that I shouldn't be reading from my slides. How often have you gone to a presentation and all they are doing is reading straight from the slides? How boring, right? So we want to teach our kids to know their content well enough that they wouldn't actually be reading word for word. So inclusiveness is what Ricardo mentioned earlier. So I don't want to be saying phrases that maybe exclude some people in my audience. Speech refinements, repetitive language, if I say the same thing over and over again. And down here, audience engagement, which is the body language, which I have off at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. If you're ready, is that okay, Mr. Racines?
Yes, please.
Yes. All right. Everyone out there, we are all crossing our fingers right now. This takes a lot of work for my computer to use this at the same time as the show. So I'm going to go ahead and rehearse with coach. So I just simply click on this. So this is what I tell my kids to do. I just tell them to click on rehearse with coach. And now here I am. Oh, why is it so big? Is it big for you too, Mr. Racines?
It's this big right now, yes.
Let me try it one more time. Oh, it is so big. I don't know why. I'm going to try it one more time. Yeah, I am using 100%. I'm going to refresh this. We did warn them, didn't we, Mr. Racines?
We did.
Okay, so I'm going to let this load again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go on to my other, I have it in another screen. Here it is. So here I am in slideshow. I'm going to give it a moment. So you can see this just looks a little bit different. I'm just using a different ribbon right now. So same thing here. And you can see, like what I said, the settings are not showing here, but don't worry, it should work. I'm going to cross my fingers that this works here. So here we are. I'm using it here. And you can see at the bottom right, it says start rehearsing. There's a little check mark down here that says show real-time feedback. If I check that off, I'll actually get feedback as I'm rehearsing. So while I'm rehearsing, it'll tell me to correct myself, and I can try to do that. Or if that's very distracting for your students, you could uncheck that, so you'll only get your feedback at the end. Okay, so I'm just I'm going to go ahead and start rehearsing. Here we go. So I am talking right now, and I am going to start my presentation. Let's see, how does this start? Oh, it's already telling me try not to use too many fillers like So as a student, I already can correct myself right now and stop using fillers like that. So let me begin. What makes a person a hero? And right now I'm going to try to read super fast to see if that catches me. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't, but it should. So a hero can be the first person to do something. Oops, it's already telling me to it's already telling me to speak slower. So, oh, I'm using again. So I'm going to try reading word for word on the screen, and let's see if it catches that. Sally Ride is a hero because she was the first woman to go into outer space. Jackie Robinson is a hero because, try to avoid reading the slides. Summarize your key points. So it's already catching that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide just for the sake of our exercise. And also it gets your pace too. Oh, here I am doing again. So I'm going to try reading super fast. Jane Goodall spoke up for the animals who were being killed by humans. She was a hero to all those who love animals. Try to avoid reading the slides. Okay, Martin Luther King was arrested for speaking up against the way Black people were being treated in the South. He is a hero. I can't read if my StreamYard thing. And so let's see if that catches it later on. Okay.
It said you were going too fast, and also said stop using like a lot.
Oh, I was going so fast I couldn't even see the feedback. So I'm just going to go through a few more slides. And another thing, it also gets our, intonation. So if I am reading like this, Abraham Lincoln is an American president that made slavery illegal. Susan B. Anthony is a hero to women, and it keeps telling me not to read from the slides, but it also tells you about your different tones and things. So
It,
I think that's pretty good, Ricardo. Well, go
it
ahead.
is, and it's giving you some of the points in real time. But when we look at the data, you are going to see all of the ones you're talking about, like the
Yes.
tone of
And
voice
like
and
I
so on
said,
and so on. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you could turn that off if that's distracting, because some kids will be like, oh, I'm so distracted. I just want to focus on my presentation. So you can turn that off and it won't give you any feedback
Yeah,
until
because
you're
you could be
completely
doing three
done.
things at once, right? You can be using like when it's going to tell you that reading too fast and reading the slides, so it just comes out
It
and tells
does
you
all
different
the
things.
things, and you can see I'm just speaking to you. I'm not even reading it. It's telling me not to use my filler. So that's something I need to work on for sure. So I'm just going to escape. I'm going to pretend I'm done. So I escaped, and look at it right here. I know. So I spent 2 minutes and I did 5 slides, and you could see right here my pace is just right. It wasn't great in some areas, but overall it was okay. So my average pace over time. So you can have these explicit conversations with the kids, like, okay, everyone, if you talk super fast, your audience is not going to understand what you're saying. You have these explicit lessons, and they'll know what it's talking about here when they read over their data. So here's my average pace over time. Pronunciation, I did pretty good with my pronunciation. It usually catches me on that. Pitch, low pitch variation will make your audience lose interest. Try increasing your tone for your key points. So maybe it heard me in that part where I was being really kind of boring, and it's telling me, I should change my intonation from time to time to make it more interesting.
So
For
even
the
though
audience.
it didn't tell you in real time, it did catch that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And originality, try to avoid simply reading the slide. Here are the slides you might want to work on. So it didn't just say, Teresa, don't just read from the slides. It said, no, these are the slides you are reading from. You want to work on these slides. So as a student, I would know, okay, on slide 2, 3, and 5, I need to study those more so that I know the content well enough to not read from the slide. Isn't that amazing? I'm just saying, it's amazing. Okay, there's more info here. So fillers. So, I mean, like, I'm sure there are so many more that I use, but, if you're really being aware of your fillers, then maybe you'd slow down your speech a little bit, kind of speak more refined, try to not put all those fillers in there. And, it's very intentional. So repetitive language. Oh, I did pretty good. I didn't say things over and over. And inclusiveness. So an example of that, if you're wondering, what does that mean? An example of that would be like if I said you guys and things like that. So maybe that doesn't feel inclusive to a lot of people if I say you guys. So those are things that our students can learn. And I learned as I went through. So I can rehearse again. We've had teachers who told students, oh, take a screenshot of that so I can see how you did. And let's try it again, in a few days and see how you improved. So that's a great way. And it's also going to come in insights as well later. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Mr. Recinos, I said I was going to try it with body language. I'm going to turn off my camera here just to be safe. Is that okay?
Sure, let's try it. But
I'm
think about that as Teresa setting up to try the with the camera for body language. You could have had 25 students actually using Rehearse with Coach or Speaker Coach, and they can do it on their own, and they can empower themselves to practice their speaking skills.
All right, allow to use my camera. Okay, so here I am again. So it's actually, recording me right now as I and the speaker coach is telling me what to do and what not to do already on my speech. But what it's doing right now that you can't see, it is going to give me advice on what to do and not to do. So I'm going to do this a little bit.
It already told you that, actually.
It did. So you shouldn't cover your face when you speak. And that's something, a lot of kids, when they're shy, they go like this and they talk in front of the class like that. So it's telling me keep the area in front of your face clear. So tell the students, no, don't put your hands in front of your face. And, I might be from the screen, I'm kind of a little bit too far. So I'm going to go back a little bit. And so it's telling me move closer to the screen. So maybe if your kids were doing in person, that would be a non-issue, but that's just something to be aware of, how close you are to your audience, right? So it's telling me that's a spot. That's great. And what was another one? So if I'm not looking at the slides, I'm kind of looking around somewhere else. It tells me that I should.
It did. It actually did.
Yeah. So it tells me I should look at it. And for your students, the equipment would be look at your audience, right? Give them good eye contact. So just things like that. And I'm just going to stop it right now if that's okay. Did I miss anything?
No, and I'm so glad it worked. So let's quit while we're ahead right now.
So I'm just going to click out of that and just show you what that data looked like. So I'm not focusing on the part that we talked about earlier, but look at this body language. So eye contact. So here we are. So it gave me a sample. It took a picture of me facing away, and then it took a picture of me where I was looking in the proper place. This is, I mean, I'm still amazed by this because it doesn't only tell me, it shows me when it was good and when it wasn't. So keep a clear view, so obstructed view. So I probably right before this picture, my hands were in my face. And then this one, my hands were clear so the audience can see me, and distance. So for this one, I was too far, and this one, I was good. This is, I don't know, I'm amazed. I didn't have to do it. As a teacher, I didn't have to do anything. I set my kids free to rehearse on their own, and this is the type of feedback they get, and they can try again. They can rehearse again and see if it improves. So I just think that's super amazing.
Amazing.
All right, so can I move on to the next one, Mr.
Yes,
Rosinas?
go ahead.
All right, so everyone, this is Speaker Coach actually in Teams, in a Teams meeting. So this might be new to a lot of you. Some of you might have already been using it in PowerPoint, but let me show you how that works in an actual meeting. So here I am in my Teams, and I am going to go to a meeting. Just so you know, for now, for some reason, if you go to Meet now, the Speaker Coach doesn't work for now. I'm sure they'll fix that eventually, but I'm just going to go ahead and go to a meeting. I already have one going on right now, so I'm going to join that meeting, and I'm going to hope the camera works and everything. So here we are, and I'm waiting. I'm going to make sure it's using the right one. It is. Oh, you know what? I should probably close this because it might still be using it. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to try that again. All right, here we go. Crossing my fingers. And if it doesn't, it will still get my tone, so it's okay. All right, so I'm going to join anyways, even though the camera's not working here, because you've already seen that demonstration. I'm just going to show you how it works with the speaker part. Is that okay, Ricardo?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and join the meeting right now. And it is connecting. The camera's not working, and that's okay. We already established that. So when you're in your meeting, you go to these three dots, more actions. And for some of you, it might show up already right here. But for me, it shows up under language and speech. Turn on Speaker Coach. So you actually have to turn it on. It doesn't just happen automatically. You could make it automatic if you want. But for now, I'm going to turn it on. And then I'm just going to go ahead and speak. And I know this is not fun. You're seeing a black screen of nothing. But Speaker Coach has started listening. So it's going to analyze my speech. And it's very similar to PowerPoint. So if I talk really fast and I talk like this, and you may not understand what I'm saying because I'm talking so fast, it's going to give me that input. And it's also going to tell me to be inclusive. Did you see right there? It says try speaking a bit slower. So it's telling me. So as you're speaking to people in your meeting, it's already giving you feedback, and they don't know that you're doing this, but this can help you to kind of relax a little bit if you're trying to present information to people. And another thing that would be great is you can actually, you can actually share your PowerPoint here, and you can go through your PowerPoint with everybody. You could share a screen like normal, and then it will also record and give you feedback on that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop because it's very similar to what you already saw. So I'm going to leave the meeting. So I'm leaving the meeting, and hopefully if it happens fast enough, there you go. I can see my Speaker Coach report, and here I am. So I spoke for about 53 seconds, and it tells me some suggestions. So 2 suggestions right here. So I am amazing at the rest. No, I'm just kidding. I just didn't spend very much time. So I can click on them, and it will tell me where it is. So pace can affect an audience understanding. Slow down a bit, okay? So it can also tell me filler words. I used again. As you noticed, I use all the time. But some other ones, inclusiveness was like what we were talking about earlier, intonation, monologue. This is really interesting because let's say you were in this meeting and you talked for, 10, 15 minutes, but no one else had a chance to speak. They would also tell you, maybe you want to give other people a chance to also participate, not just you. So it would give you that feedback as well. So if you like to monopolize the conversation a little bit, it will tell you to maybe give other people a chance to speak. Here, repetitive language, and which is pretty self-explanatory. So I wish I did all these things, but those are the things that it catches. So that monologue one is the one that's kind of different from the one that's inside of PowerPoint, but super cool. And you will also eventually be able to see your data across time as well, your insights. So I love it. Very cool. Is there anything else, Mr. Rosinas, you wanted me to show here?
No, I think you showed everything. It's incredible. I had not seen it in Teams, and I'm amazed by it, especially the whole idea of everybody being able to participate in a meeting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. And I need to use them more. I've been told that I say, let's do this really fast over and over.
And you seem
So
to talk fairly quickly, but so do I.
yeah,
All right.
so exciting, right? To see speaker coach in both PowerPoint and in Teams. So we're gonna move on, and we'll talk about a little bit about Search Coach. And I'm inside of our teams for teachers in our district. You know that you can actually create your teams directly from Canvas. It will roster it for you. But I'm inside here, and I'm in a team that I use for PDs. And you're going to notice that Search Coach is already there, okay? But I want to make sure that we start from step 0, where we're actually going to add it to a team. So let's go ahead and go to teams in here, and I'm gonna go to a team that I have not added the search coach to it yet. So let's go ahead and go to reading progress class, okay? So let's go in here, and again, Search Coach is available for any educator to install. So once you are in here, you want to go up to the top where it says General, and notice how I have a plus sign over here. I can click on it, okay? And when I click on it, you are going to see Search Coach right on top. But if you don't see it there, you simply have to search for it. Just type Search Coach, and you're going to find it. So let's go ahead and Search Coach. So let's go ahead and click on it, and let's say that we want to add it, okay? So here it goes. It's going to say, where do you want to add it, okay? So it talks a little bit about what it is and what it does for you. We're not going to spend time with that today because we're going to kind of go over it. So let's go ahead and say save, okay? Couldn't save it. Let's see. Why didn't I save it? Should be able to save it automatically here. So if we couldn't save your tab settings, please try again. So it didn't save it, but it should save it for you. And once it saves it, it's going to basically show up right up here as Search Coach. So I'm going to go in there. So again, we talked a little bit about it. But what is Search Coach? Basically, Search Coach is going to help our students get better at finding information by teaching them how to search effectively and pick trustworthy sources. Students can practice the skills and important concepts in a safe place without any ads. So notice that I have my Search Coach in here. I can kind of go to the caret right here, and I can actually expand it. So it just looks bigger. It just looks better like that, okay? And as we go in there, you're going to see that this is actually based on Bing API, but Microsoft has added its own interface for Search Coach, okay? But it's using Bing search to do it, okay? But the interface makes it easy for our students to learn how to do this type of searches, okay? So it's kind of a sandbox that we can experiment and work with our students on different search techniques, okay? So let's look at the interface. So notice over here, we have our search box where we're gonna be actually searching. And then you have domain, file type, date range, and operators. We'll talk about those in a second. We'll go more in depth. And also every day or every time you come in, it gives you a search tip of the day, okay? So it's not gonna be the same one every time. It's going to actually switch and rotate every day, okay? Another nice thing that I think I mentioned that is safe search is enabled by default, okay? So you don't have to worry about that as an educator. You're going to be able to feel like you're secure with our students searching in here, okay? So let's go ahead and go to the top right now before we start talking about the different tools and the different interface. Over here, you have something called class settings, okay? So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to click on it, okay? And notice that you have backgrounds, and I actually want to change the background. Once you change this as a teacher, this is going to be the look that it's going to have for all of your students, okay? So I want something relaxing, okay? So I'm going to pick this particular one right here. There's also filters in here, and we're going to come back and talk about the filters in a second. Today, we're just going to do, right now, we're just going to worry about the background. So now once I switch it, this background is going to be applied for all of my students when they come in here, okay? So now it just looks better, doesn't it? I'm more relaxed, I think, okay?
Right, yeah.
So, Dev, I agree.
I need that right now.
So now that we are in here, okay, we're going to start looking at the different tools. But before I go there, I did want to mention, and I'm going to put this on the chat, Microsoft has come up with a lot of resources for you. I'm going to put this at the chat at the end. But basically, we have a link over here that's going to tell you what Search Coach is and what it does. Okay, we also have actually a Microsoft course that you can take as a teacher to basically learn everything you need to know about Search Coach and how to use it. And finally, and this is one of my favorite tools in here, you have lesson plans that you can use for beginners, lesson plans when it comes to Search Coach, more advanced, moderate lesson plans, and finally advanced lesson plans that you can use with your students. So maybe astronaut food, right? Choosing a pet would be a beginner lesson plan for our little ones, maybe, right? All the way to a school meal nutrition. So you have all these different resources for you right here, okay? But let's go ahead and start, okay? So let's go ahead and go on the basic operation. So let's just go ahead and do a simple query, okay? And Teresa and I kept going back and forth on this one. So we're going to go with, is New York pizza, better than Chicago pizza, okay?
That's a hard one.
Let's kind of look for that, okay? And what I love about it, okay, so notice that what I did, okay? I use the word better. So automatically, yeah, it is going to give you all these different resources that I came back with, all these different searches. But it tells you something very important here with the search tip. Okay. It says, you know what? Searches that use comparisons or language like better or then can result in opinions that sound like facts. So be careful when you search
Wow.
and how you search, right? Using the word
Yes.
better would not be a good idea, right? Sometimes an operator might be able to help you with that when you're using the word better, okay? For example, if I say, is sugar good for you? Will mostly return results that says that it is good for you. Because you said, is it good for me? Okay, so you have to be careful how you search. Okay, so just that was the first one that we needed to make sure that we know. Okay, so there are many tips that are going to pop for you over here, all different as we continue to search. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of start with domains today. Okay, so let's clear the search right now and let's go to domains. And I love this. Okay, so notice that by default, when you go to domains, you have all the domains that are going to help you learn how to search. Okay, the first one that you see is you have commondomains.com, right? And .org. Those are very, very common, right?
Mhm.
But something very, very interesting, like when you look at US domains over here, .gov and .edu, you might not know, but only US is the one that uses .gov and .edu. No one else in the
Wow.
world uses those domains. Okay, so as we go in here, you're going to see how we're going to start using domains. So maybe in here, I want to come in here and I want to use something that I don't know. Maybe I want to search about clean energy. All right, I didn't type that right. So let's go to clean energy. Now I only want to search around things that are, maybe I want to use, let's try, how about if I use .gov only? Okay, so notice how it added over here that we're only looking at sites that have .gov on top when it comes to clean energy. So let's go ahead and search. And now you're going to see that everything that came back came from anything that is .gov in here with the type of search that it did. Very easy for you to come back to
Well, read what
domains.
it says up there, Mr. Racinos.
Up
Can
here,
you?
the
No,
domain.
go ahead and search that again.
Okay, sure,
Cleanenergies.gov. And
sure.
at the very top,
This one right
well,
here.
what it said was, it's okay. What it said earlier is that, .gov or .edu searches are usually very reliable. So those are ones that you'd want to use over others if you could find the information with
Yeah,
those types
good
of
good
sites.
point, right? Good point. So as our students start getting used to what's reliable and what's not, we can come back over here, right? Maybe I'll use the .edu, okay? Something that was very interesting that I thought, this one's .org. We always think that .org is going to be something that is traditionally nonprofit, okay? But if you read, many are excellent, but a few of them publish hate speech. Always consider a site's agenda before using it as a source. So just be careful, okay? And I love these descriptions that the search coach gives us for us to understand.
Mhm.
But if I wanted to now, I used Gov before, so notice that I have both of them up here. Maybe I just want to use .edu. Okay, so I click Gov, and now I'm just using edu for clean energy, and now I'm going to look. And notice that everything that came back right now, okay, it's only from edu sites. Just very amazing to be able to use domains.
And
I'll go to,
yeah, go
uh-huh.
ahead. It's okay. Keep going.
I got one more. So you also have the ability to search by countries. Okay, so maybe I want to actually search something different. I'm gonna search. Maybe I'll search El Salvador, my country where I was born, and maybe I want to just search in here from the point of view from Argentina. Okay, and maybe I'll do one more. Maybe I'll do I don't know. Maybe I'll do. Is there Mexico in here or Costa Rica? Maybe I can do those. Mexico. Okay, and let me. I don't think El Salvador was there, but now I'm only going to look for El Salvador from sites that are from Argentina and Mexico. So let me go ahead and click there and notice that everything is going to come in here. It's going to come out from those particular countries, Mexico, and so on and so on. Okay, so it's pretty amazing to see that. Something that I have not talked about yet, but notice that this little icons that come out here when it talks about reliability, domain, the last time it was updated or seen, and the location. So let's go back and look at those really quick, okay? So let's go ahead and go back to, let's just use our .gov right now, maybe, and let's just use our org, okay? And let's look for something like, I don't know, how about something current like ChatGPT. Okay?
Hot
Let's
topic.
go ahead and search, okay? So notice that it's going to come up with a lot of resources for you in here, okay? And a lot of reliabilities came out unknown. So maybe maybe it's too new to see it. So let's try something different just really quick. Maybe I'll try COVID-19. Is that probably something that might work better? Here it goes. Here we go. So there we go. So now we try COVID-19 and notice what it did. Okay. As we went and searched for it, in here we have these extra annotations that we can learn from and our students can learn from. Okay. Notice NewsCar. Okay. NewsCar is this organization that relies upon journalists to determine whether news are accurate or transparent. Okay. So notice what it's doing is saying that this is 100% of 100% reliable. Okay. So if I
Wow.
click on there, it's going to say, you know
Wow.
what? Credibility, it's 100%, and transparency, it's 100%. So now our students start to learn what's credible and what's not, right? So this could be a start for our students to think about how the sites are and what they do and why are they,
What's their
promoting what they're
motivation? What's their
promoting, right?
bias?
What their
Right.
motivation. And let's kind of look at that. Look at this one right here, 70 out of 100, right? So if I click on this one right here and I find out about COVID-19, this particular site, it's going to tell me regularly
Wow.
corrects or clarifies errors, so they don't clarify their errors. The website discloses ownership and financing. It does it. So now we don't
It's
know who is
sponsored.
doing
Wow.
this. Okay, who sponsored this, right?
Mhm.
So now our students start to learn, right? These teaching moments for our students to learn what is a good search and what is a, maybe not such a good search, right? So NewsCard is amazing, right? The domain where it came from, right? The last time that was updated and where it came from. So these different annotations are very, very important for our students. And we're trying to teach them how to do searches. Okay, very incredible. So that was domains. Let's go ahead and move on to file types. One of my favorites. So I'm gonna go to file types, and maybe I'm looking for something about I don't know, Martin Luther King. Okay. And notice that by default, right now I'm looking for PowerPoints, PDFs, and docs. So maybe I want to come in here and I want to unclick, and I only want to find things that are PDF. So
Oh.
notice that it added the PDF. Our students doing research maybe, and I'm going to look and notice what it did. It only found things that were PDFs. So if I was to click on this one right here, it's going to open that PDF for me.
As a teacher, this is so useful. I'm just
Right? I mean,
from
now
my
I'm
point of
finding
view,
just
not just for students.
right, or maybe yeah, you're right. Maybe I'm getting ready
Or
for a lesson
PowerPoint,
or
right?
something, right? And now I just want to find PowerPoints, right? So if I go in
Yeah.
there and look for PowerPoints, now it's going to
Why start
find
from
me.
scratch? Look at
There's
that.
PowerPoints already created for me that have to do
Wow.
with Martin Luther King. So pretty amazing to be able to use file type, date range, right? When we teach our students to do some research, right? Maybe I want to find something that is current right now. So I don't want to go and look about something, maybe the Super Bowl for this year, and I go and it looks for like the first Super Bowl, right? So let's think maybe about something that is going on right now. Maybe I'm a big basketball fan, so maybe NBA Finals or NBA playoffs, right? And I say, I want to find something within the past 24 hours. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on there. And notice it's going to tell me what's going on. And I just got depressed because I just found out that Kawhi Leonard is not going to play in tonight's game between the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. So that just ruined my night today. But notice that I found everything that is current right now. Okay. Because I went to the past 24 hours and that's how I search, right? But I could say maybe the past week, the past month, the past year, or a custom range. So that's how you will use this particular tool over here when it comes to the date range, okay? And then finally, in this part, I'm going to go to operators. So let's go ahead and clear everything. And now operators, these are really, really important, okay? So if I was to look for something like, which one is my favorite soccer team, right, Teresa?
LF, what is it?
You better not say.
I won't say it. I know you'd be mad at me.
LA Galaxy, right? So if I was to write LA Galaxy in here, right, and I didn't use quotation marks in here, it will find things that are related to Los Angeles, galaxies, or maybe some science stuff, right, astronomy. But if I come in here and I say, I want you to use quotation marks, now it added the quotation marks. So when I do a search, it's going to find everything that has to do with the LA Galaxy, exactly everything. So now think about it now. So now I'm using operators, but maybe I want to go to domain, and I also want to just find people from, I don't know, Canada, because there's a lot of fans in Canada that love the LA Galaxy. And now I go and do the search. So now I'm using the operator for the quotation marks and Canada. And now I'm finding things. Chris Mavinga was a player that came from Toronto to Los Angeles Galaxy. Now it's only finding LA Galaxy information that came from locations or websites in Canada.
That is so fascinating because I think
yeah.
I did do a search for LA Galaxy once before because I was looking at game information. And when I didn't have the quotation marks, it sends me it can show me stuff about space because it says galaxy. It shows me stuff, So this really narrows it down. That would have been a time saver for sure.
Right, and now we're using operators and now we're using domains too at the same time, right? Cool. So now we're teaching our students to use all of these tools, right? So that was the idea to use search control over here. I did want to cover one more thing I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to class settings because I wanted to show you this, okay? So I wanted to show you the filters in here, okay? So maybe right now I'm teaching my kids only how to use domains. So I have the ability to
Mm.
come and turn this off as a teacher, okay? I don't care about file types, date range, or operators, right?
Oh.
And I can apply and notice what's going to happen. So when I apply this, the only teachable moment for my students is how to use domains. And now our students
Ah.
cannot go in here. It says your educator has disabled these filters right now. So they won't be able to use this particular filters because we're focusing on domain right now, right? So pretty incredible to be able to do that as a teacher. I'm going to turn them back on.
That's great, especially because when I think about how do I scaffold this for younger kids, because we can't say these are just for high school and higher ed. Our young kids are already searching on the internet. They need to know these skills, and that's a great way. That's a great suggestion. Just doing one at a time, just letting it build on each other. So
Yeah,
yeah, I like that.
or the ability to create your own if you want to. So I have the ability to come in here and I'll come back to fact check in a second, but to create your own. So I'm going to create it here and I'm going to say this is going to be, maybe I teach different subjects or different periods or different, levels, right? So this is going to be Mr. Vecino's Spanish 1 class. Okay, and I'm going to be, probably too big. So maybe it's for the Spanish 1. Okay. And now I have the ability to enter the sites that I want my students to be able to go into. So if I wanted to go in here and I just gotta bring a couple of them, let me just go ahead and copy a couple of them. It'll be easier if I do it this way instead of me typing them because I'm a horrible typer. So let me go ahead and bring this right here. So now I am determining or teaching my students how to search. So I'm gonna add that particular one. I'm going to add this particular one in here. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna add one more. Okay. And I know Teresa will probably love this one with her, what is it called? Aquarium of the Pacific, right? So, and I can keep adding sites if I want to. So notice what's going to happen. So I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to apply. So notice that now I should have Mr. Vecinos right here. Oh, I didn't turn it on, did I? Let me go back. So I apply, and I'm going to turn on Spanish 1. Apply. So now my students are going to be able, my Spanish 1 kids, when we're learning how to use Search Coach, can come in here and you only use Spanish 1 to be able to search on only the places that I allow for them to search. And I might have a Spanish 2, right, or biology, chemistry, and so on as I'm teaching our students how to use this amazing
But that's
tool,
also
okay?
just great in planning, because if you're thinking these are the sites I want them to use for research right now, not just for the coaching, but that's a great way to put your different periods, different sites, and the kids just know, oh, I click on this, these are the sites I need to use today for whatever project I'm doing. It's so cool.
Pretty amazing, right? So that's so maybe we're just going to search for one thing and I just want to find about, on this particular site, and the kids will just search right there, just like we've been doing before. And finally, I did want to cover the ability to use fact check. I can turn this on right here. So we know how to create our own. I'm going to turn the Spanish 1 class off right now, but let's do fact check and turn that one on. Okay. So discover what professional fact checkers have to say about your topic. So this has been checked for you. You can come here and edit. By default, you have 3 sites that Microsoft has come up with for you that are reliable, right? Factcheck.org, snoops.com, and there's teen one. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but I know it's for teens. So these are already there. You can add your own site if you wanted to, just like we did before. But I'm going to say this, and I think I'm going to turn it on. Okay. So now when I'm teaching my students to fact check, notice that it's available right here, right? So let's use something that is controversial. Was the moon landing fake? How about that?
Oh.
And I just made that up. It might not be controversial, but I just made that up. But let's go ahead and go. Was the moon landing fake? And I'm gonna maybe just check on fact check. Or I can select all of them if I want to. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and go next. And notice that it's going to come up with all of these different options, right? And again, NewsGuard is up there for you to tell you how reliable and how credible this is, transparency. And you have all of these different options that we learned.
You think that's an old topic? Look it's been updated like a day ago or 2 days ago.
Right. So think about all of these amazing tools that you have available inside of Search Coach. So just to help our students, maybe understand or get better at citing, how to do a search, what's fact, what's fake, and so on and so on. So I think that was what I wanted to cover when it came to Search Coach.
I love it. Is that all for today?
I think that is all we have for today, isn't it?
That went by super fast. Thank you everyone for hanging in there with us, especially some tech issues we had, but we were able to get through everything. Thank goodness. And so thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you found those helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. We love to learn together with you. But the next time you see us, we are going to be learning about insights, right?
Insights, the last part of our series, right? We have done foundational skills, we have done future ready, and now we're going to look into insights. And if you are a teacher, join us. You're going to love this. If you are actually an administrator, to be able to see all this data, because we do have the data for district-wide now. So it's pretty
Our
incredible,
administrators
okay?
have been waiting. So we're excited to share that news with them. So, all right, everybody, have a great week. We will see you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.